Yo, what's going on, world? It's your boy Poncho here. Welcome to episode 41 of the Encore Podcast. If this is your first time listening, this is a pod for artists, musicians, anyone with a passion for music and art that's trying to turn into a full-time business. So if that's you, subscribe and tap into the fucking community. I'm here today with my co-host Cruz.
What's up, Poncho? How you doing, bro?
And we got Ivan in the cut again.
And we got Ivan again. Second episode of the show. So we're here today with Mykal. The best managers, top managers coming out to New York. Very excited to have you, bro. I know you got a lot of great insight. We're having some dope conversation off camera already. So it's great to be with you. Founder of Top Tier Music Management. So
yes, sir.
Yeah. Great to have you,
Co-founder.
Co-founder.
Yeah, for sure. Got to shout out Robbie NYC as my partner.
Word.
But thanks for having me, man. I'm super excited about this conversation. First time doing this. So let's get it done, man.
Yes, sir, we here.
Yeah, those are some of our favorite conversations where we get to be like the first time interviewing. So if you haven't done an interview before, like it's great to bring that out of you. So I know you have great personality, great energy. I could feel that already. So yeah,
appreciate that, bro.
Yeah, for sure.
Yo, so in just a few minutes or so, could you tell the people where you were born, where you grew up, and how you got started in the music industry?
Okay, so born, raised in the Bronx. Shout out to the Bronx. Uptown for sure. So just kind of, been living there my entire life. How I got into the game. So honestly, didn't really know what I was doing. Just really focused on just helping out my boy. That's really how it started. It's just hey, I'm an artist. I guess I'm a manager.
Yeah.
I book studio sessions. I guess that's my title.
Yeah.
So, that's kind of, how I got into the game.
Yeah. How did that role for you evolve over time as sort of the artist might have gotten a little bit more traction? Maybe you got on a bigger artist. How did your role sort of evolve?
Honestly, you got to make yourself as resourceful as possible. So I think when I started off,
manager or artist? As
a manager, in my perspective, starting off, like I said, is just my boy. And I was just I'm booking studio sessions. I guess I'm a manager. And I just went 100 miles an hour and just thought okay, this is what I do now. Let me start a record label. Let me do this. Let me do that. And at a certain point, I realized I got to be a student first. Mm-hmm. So, I think educating yourself and getting to a point where you're okay, this is what I'm doing. Let me understand my job. Mm-hmm. So yeah, kind of making yourself an asset and becoming as resourceful as possible. So once you take that step, it's okay, next step is finding a bigger act and being able to utilize those resources that you learn.
Mm. Are you somebody that always kind of had connections, or is that something you had to extra look for when you're all right, now I'm a manager, now I got to take it upon myself to build, or a little bit of both?
Nah. So let me kind of backtrack a little bit. I got into the entertainment space with my boys. Mm-hmm. How we got in, it was just we were throwing parties. We used to call ourselves Savvy. Mm-hmm. That was our gang. And our group. And for a lot of time we were just throwing parties uptown, doing local stuff, and it kind of gave us some buzz. And that's kind of how I got into the game of understanding and kind of moving and shaking. So with that, I had a little bit of, relationships, nothing crazy. But you kind of just start learning how to move and shake when you're in the right rooms, understanding okay, who this person is before you meet them, who that person is, what they do. Mm-hmm. And then introducing yourself hey, look, I'm inspired by what you do and I'm up and coming myself, and people just appreciate that.
Mm. So what were some of your early strategies for getting in the right rooms? Because like you said, that's some of the biggest, just getting in the right room, literally. Just you were in the studio, you met some dope other managers just now. What was some of your early strategies for getting in the room? Because sometimes it's the hardest part for people.
It is the hardest part, and it's a humbling experience. I don't know if I should talk about this one situation, but we'll throw it out there. I hope he sees it. Whatever. You guys ever seen the Rory and Mal podcast?
Yeah.
Okay, so funny
we know
story.
Where it came from.
Yeah,
that's mad funny. So funny story. If he sees this, fuck it. Can I curse on this? Is that
yeah.
All right, cool. If he sees it, fuck it. But I was backstage at I forget it. was an event in Brooklyn, at the Brooklyn Mirage.
Okay.
So I was moving and shaking at the time. Like
It was a hip hop performance.
yeah, so
that's a
YG
rare at the
performed.
Mirage. Yeah. Damn, at the
I
Mirage?
think it was it Duce Palooza? Might have been. So one of those two. Anyway, so I'm moving and shaking. I'm at the event, and my main goal always was get backstage and do what you need to do. So that's what I do. I bypass security. Takes me a while. But you said how?
Yeah. Give us your sauce, bro.
I don't know if I. You know what?
All right, off camera.
Yeah, off camera.
Okay.
So I bypass security. I bypass another set of security because once you get to backstage, it's like at those big events, like it's super secure. Like, you're not just gonna get back there unless you're somebody. So I got back there. I'm not gonna say how, but I ended up getting back there. So I'm moving and shaking. Trey Songz is back there. YG, a couple other artists. Anyway, I'm introducing myself, working the room. And then out of nowhere, like Rory sees me. He's like, bro, do you like belong here? I was like, I mean, yeah, I'm and he's like, yeah, bro, you gotta go. I was like, listen, man, just like offhand, like straight, like you gotta go. You don't belong here. I was like, and I kind of gave him like a little spiel, like, hey, look, I'm just moving and shaking. I'm up and coming. This is kind of what I'm doing.
Yeah,
he didn't even want to hear it. He was like, yo,
why does he care?
Go.
It's not his show. What the fuck?
I mean, I think he was a co-host at with the event.
Okay.
So I understand it. It's nothing personal.
Yeah.
But it's kind of just it comes with the game.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a
like that.
humbling experience. But yeah. But funny enough though, right before I leave, Trey Songz, like I introduced myself to Trey Songz, and I'm like, hey, like this is what I'm doing, and yada yada yada. But like Rory's kind of kicking me out. He's like, yo, listen, bro, like you did the right thing. You're back here. That's what's important. And he just like gave me like a quick, inspiring like little sentence. And I was just like, damn, like this is powerful. He's like, yo, bro, you belong here. You're exactly where you need to be. So I always think about that situation.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Yo, all right. So you touched on something a little bit before, how you kind of just started the game coming up with your homies and shit. I feel like there's two men. I don't even feel like I know. There's two managers in the game. There's the homie manager and there's the industry manager. For an artist, right? Because most of the people who are going to watch is the artists. Do you think it would be better to come up with your homie or get a manager who's in the game?
That's a good question, man. Look.
If your homie's a bozo, don't take him as a manager.
That's real shit.
Even if he's passionate.
That's exactly what I was kind of gonna say. Like, it really depends on what, as a manager, what's your goal? Like, is your goal to sit there and be the homie manager forever? So as an artist, for instance, if you got the opportunity to, roll out with someone who believes in you early on, and they're taking it serious and they're gonna become an asset and become resourceful, I think it's super important to, focus on that rather than trying to get somebody who's of status. Because one, you got more to prove to them. And, secondly is they're not going to automatically just believe in you. You know what I mean? So it's one of those like, okay, like let's come up together kind of situation. And if as an artist, you're going into the, situation like that and your homie is like moving and shaking and doing what he needs to do, I don't see nothing wrong with it. Now, if you're a homie that's just a homie and you're getting high with the artist all the time, and there's nothing wrong with smoking or anything like that, but if you're, not focused on certain aspects of where the artist needs to go as far as direction goes, like you're not an asset.
That definitely makes sense. So building on that a little bit and also taking it back a little bit, when you have conversations with people, if you're working the room, like you said, I like how you said that, and you're early on, before you have like somewhat big artists like under you, like what were you saying about yourself? Like how are you approaching those conversations to sort of make yourself seem like somebody that wanted to meet you?
It's confidence, you know what I mean? It's confidence, but you also don't want to come off too hard either. Like you don't want to come off too aggressive. Like, hey, this is what I do and yada, yada, yada. And I feel like at that point, it's like, now people don't want to talk to you, you know, because for one, you don't have like a status where people just automatically know you. So I think for me early on, like I said, it kind of goes back to going through humbling experiences and learning that, hey, listen, I probably shouldn't say this, or I probably shouldn't come off aggressive like that. So I think when the approach I take is usually just like, hey, you know, I'm so-and-so, this is what I do. And like I said before, I'm inspired by what you do, like being a student first and understanding like your role.
Okay. Interesting. Okay. All right. I got one. So I got an interesting question. I kind of asked this in the who did we interview before Murat?
I don't know.
Shout out Matt. Matt Connolly. Shout out Matt Connolly. And I asked him, what do you wish artists would understand about videographers? He's a videographer from across the river. He's doing his thing. But because you work with a lot of artists, and I'm sure you get hit up all the time from other artists who are like, yo, bro, can you manage me? And I'm sure the answer is no. That's a comment for another day. But what is one thing that you wish artists would understand about managers?
You're not an investor. I think that's the main thing. Like, you know, and I say that, you know, because investing time is a real thing. Like time being invested, I think is, you know, it's more expensive than money in my opinion. But you're not an investor when it comes to just understanding that, like, I'm going to give you the upfront bread to invest in your career. Like that's not the role a manager plays. I think that's a common misconception.
That's a common misconception.
Yeah, 100%. I think people, you know, for artists, they think, you know, my manager is going to take care of this and take care of that. But, you know, in all actuality, you know, they're not supposed to. And there's some, you know, I've spent a lot of money in this and you learn after certain situations that's not the role you play. You know, there's people that are going to come in and, you know, like record labels and production companies are going to come in and take care of those expenses. That's why you get a budget. But you're not going to really see that return as a manager. You know what I mean? You're only getting 10, 15, 20%, if that.
20 if you're a god.
20 if you're a god.
What would you say one of the most challenging parts of being a manager is?
It's a thankless job.
Thankless.
I've heard a lot of managers say that.
Is this a thankless job?
It's a thankless job. A lot of what we do is behind the scenes. You know, at the end of the day, you're focusing on what the artist is gonna do. You're focusing on what their needs are. You're putting yourself second when it comes to the artist. And you know, there's people that appreciate that, you know, but at the end of the day, when like an artist hits a certain milestone, that's your accomplishment. That's your thank you. They don't even have to say it. Like, it's just, you know, like at the end of the day, like you made that shit happen.
So when you're not seeing results, when you're not getting those milestones, what keeps you going? Like when the reward is low, like what's the incentive for you to keep going?
You just got to focus on the goal. You got to focus on the light at the end of the tunnel. Like at the end of the day, it's like you see it as this may not happen today, but if I keep pushing, I'm going to make it happen. So just kind of being relentless.
Just believing and just taking action.
100%.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So, if could you describe the qualities that an artist would have to possess in order for you to invest in them?
Can I describe it? I mean, it really just depends. Like, I'm big on energy. I'm big on energy.
Vibes and energy.
Vibes and energy. Because like you said, when an artist hits me up like, hey, I need a manager, it's like my partner always says, you're managing expectations. That's what our job is. Manage expectations first. Like, are you bringing something to the table? Like, are you bringing something that we can manage? And 9 times out of 10, when an artist is doing that, they're not. And they don't understand their role. But, you know. You
think artists try to find a manager too early?
It depends. Yeah. You know, I think some artists find a manager too late. You know what I mean? So it really depends. But good managers, and from what I've seen from, you know, the people I look up to in the game, they'll find you. You know what I mean? I'll find you. You know what I mean? And if I believe in what you got going on, I'm going to be as resourceful as possible. and I'm gonna make it known that I want to work with you.
Mm-hmm.
So I think vibes is definitely a huge aspect. Of course, the quality of music, you know, being top tier as our company, it's like we want to understand, like, does the music, is it hit? You know what I mean? Is this quality music? So I'm one of those people, and my partner is as well. Like we like to we like to focus on development. You know what I mean? I think that's something that's missing in the game right now. And just understanding like the artist is starting from scratch and seeing them go through different milestones, hitting different like goals, and it's just a good feeling, you know what I mean, when you're taking them from scratch.
How do you go about developing an artist?
Manage expectations first, like I said. You gotta understand what their goals are. Like, what is it that you want out of this?
You just have a conversation, get all that out on the table, and okay.
Is that one of those you have to have that conversation before, for you at least? Do you, like, before, I don't know if you have anything in writing with your artist. I wanted to ask you that too. But like, what is your sort of onboarding process for a new artist that you want to work with? Like, what kind of conversations do you have to have before you make that commitment for yourself?
So everything's in writing. Whatever, you know, I've learned that, you know, some of my early artists, you know, obviously I didn't have anything in writing. I'm rolling. I'm figuring it out. I don't even know what a management contract looked like at the time.
Yeah.
But as you understand how this game goes, like you got to have security, and you have to have the right representation. So you know, everybody we work with is on paper. Just for security purposes, but also understanding that the relationship starts with the conversation, but also getting to know the artist. You don't want to just put something in front of them and hey, like, yeah, I want to work with you, you know, and you know, I'm not somebody of that status yet. I don't think I'll ever be at that point where I just want to put paper in front of people. I want them to get to know me, my team, you know, my partner, what we bring to the table, maybe move them around a little bit. And, you know, also get feedback from other managers and kind of see like what they think about that artist. And, you know, I'll send some stuff out to my mentors, and I'll just be like, hey, what do you think about this guy? Like, what's your thoughts?
Really?
Yeah. Because I feel like at the end of the day, like you can have an assurance that this is what you want to do and who you want to work with. But I like to lean on the people that have done it before me.
Okay.
That's real. Is there anything that, let's say you're evaluating an artist, seeing if it makes sense? Are there any either traits or things you could see that would be an immediate just a straight turn off?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I try not to just judge people off the initial, but I mean, you get one grand opening with me, you know what I mean? Or I think with everyone, you know, that first impression definitely counts. So if you're an artist that like just thinks he knows everything off the, like, you know, no experience,
know it all,
it's just like, yeah, bro, like I want to do this, and it's good to have a vision, right? But are you open-minded? Are you coachable? So if you're not coachable, like this isn't gonna work. And you know, yeah, I think being coachable is a main aspect.
Are most artists coachable or not?
Most of my artists are in general. Most artists
in general.
I don't know. I mean, it's a good question. I don't really know. I mean, most artists, you know, it depends on the person. You know, are most people coachable?
Yeah, I don't even know if I could answer that, low key.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. All right.
So have you had any? Do you have any recommendations for a manager or an artist that feels like they're going through this relationship and they feel like it's not really working? Have you had any experience or stories of like how you transitioned out of those situations, or just any thoughts on just ending a relationship?
I think that's something I'm still figuring out. Like,
yeah,
you know, when you put in time and invest time into an artist or, you know, someone you believe in, that becomes your priority. You know, I got 2 kids, and you know, my priority is my family first, of course. But there's times where I can't be around my kids because I'm doing something with my artist. So it becomes that like relationship that you've put in front of a lot of other things, you know, whether it's sacrificing family time or whatever it is, even doing like fun stuff.
Yeah.
So when that relationship kind of comes to an end, or you feel like it's coming to an end, I feel like it's super tough. So I think that's something I'm still figuring out.
Yeah.
You know, that's one of the things I wanted to ask you, how you even balance out, because you have 2 kids.
Yeah.
And you manage 4 artists, is it?
3 artists.
3 artists.
3 artists.
All right, well, that's basically 3 more kids. No disrespect to the artists, but just managing an artist is a lot of fucking work. So you have 5 kids. How do you even manage to split your time between all that? No disrespect. No disrespect. Just want to. But yeah, it's real though. Yeah.
So I mean, you got to lean on your team, right? Like I got a dope team. I mean, when I say team, it's, you know, it's me and my partner, and you know, we'll have some other people come on and work different things. But you have to have a dope relationship with your team first. Like I think
not the artist, your team.
My team, as in like, you know, my partner.
Okay.
I think he takes on a lot of weight that I can't carry, and vice versa. So we really kind of balance each other out when it comes to that. Now, my lifestyle is kind of chaotic. I don't get sleep. Like just, you know, I snuck in a nap before I got here. I was like, let me get 2 hours in before I come out here. And you know, got some coffee. I'm like, good to go.
Yeah.
But that's kind of like my day to day. Like, you know, you get burnt out, and you got to understand like what your limits are. So balancing is definitely something I'm still figuring out.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Sheesh, all right, I respect it.
Do you feel like there are any conversations that should be left for the managers, if you know what I mean, and not the artists? Like, do you feel like there's like, if you're trying to negotiate something,
I'm not a manager.
Like, I don't know. Is there any
Yeah.
conversations that you feel like are better left off to manager on manager, or manager with brands instead of the artist handling themselves? Or does it depend on the artist? I mean, I'm sure it does, but
it definitely depends on the artist. I think you have to understand, like, most managers are addressing the elephant in the room. Like, we have to have those awkward conversations.
The straight shooters, they just get the shit done.
It's what it is. You know, at the end of the day, like, the artists are not going to have those conversations. Some do, like, you know, shout out to them. But, you know, you gotta be able to bring up those elephants in the room. You got to understand, like, oh, this is the conversation I got to have right now. Don't really want to have it, but we got to get it done.
This is what it is.
Yeah. So I think it really depends. Yeah, it depends on the conversation and what it is that, you know, we're trying to get done.
So if an artist makes a song with a producer, and they want to work out terms for it, like, how do you guys go about sort of working out the terms for the producer agreement?
It depends on the producer. Like, does the producer have a manager?
Yeah.
Like, am I speaking to the producer's manager directly? Or am I working with just the producer? So it really depends. I think most agreements are pretty straightforward. Like, you know, get your contracts in order, get your lawyer, and understand, like, yo, like, what, you know, how the splits are, understanding royalties, and understanding that this is the conversation we got to have, but who am I having it with?
So do you guys have, I know you work with a lawyer. I don't know if you want to shout out your lawyer, but you can feel free.
Shout out to Julian. That's my guy.
Hey, okay. Julian Cordero. Shout out to you. When do you get your lawyer involved? Because I know it's a heavy expense. Work for a law firm myself, so I understand the numbers that go on behind that and how it can be. So when does it feel worth it for you?
Yeah, a
like,
lot of people just hear the word lawyer and get intimidated.
Yeah.
So
it's a big investment, but it's an important investment. Like, you don't want to go into something that, you know, has the potential to take off, and you don't got your stuff in order. Like, you don't got the business aligned, because, you know, there's the music and then the music business. So the lawyer is a super important, you know, part of the business, you know, the music business. So it really depends on where you're at. Like, if you're just releasing songs, you know, just to gain some traction and you know, you trying to catch a buzz early on, I think you should definitely have some of your stuff in order. Like, I would say understand the game and do your homework as an artist first.
Like have your ASCAP, a BMI, shit like that.
Yeah.
Just real basic shit.
Real basic stuff. You want to understand like what it is as an artist that I need to be, taking care of and focusing on. As a lawyer, when they come in, they're really going to handle the logistics, and they're going to handle the stuff that the artist can't handle, or their manager can't handle. They're going to focus on documentation. So it really depends on the artist. Yeah.
What about with producer agreements? Do you usually go through lawyer? Do you have like just a form that you use to send to producers? How do you go about like clearing beats for a song?
So I mean, I've worked with producers. Like I've helped manage producers. I don't have a producer right now. But when it comes to like clearing certain things, I think it really just depends on what the producer is going to negotiate. You don't get what you get by just getting it. You get what you negotiate.
Yeah.
That's real. All right. So this is one thing that, just to switch gears a little bit. This is one thing that Murat brought us. Shout out Murat. Episode 40. Check that shit out. You will not be disappointed. But watch this shit all the way through first. But anyway, we were talking about manager red flags. So for an artist, right? Let's say I'm an artist, shit is getting too crazy. I can't handle it on myself. I'm looking for a manager. What are some things about a manager that might be like,
red flag?
I think it goes back to like the homeboy aspect of management. Cause like, all right, if an artist is taking off, right?
Yeah.
As a manager, you should be developing as well. You should be becoming more resourceful. You should be learning the game. And when it's time, like you guys are getting ready to roll out together. So if the manager's like just staying behind and still doing homeboy shit, then super red flag.
Yeah.
Super red flag.
Do you like act like the dad in the room a lot of times, or do you like, how does that work for you?
Now being a dad,
now being like a dad, it transcends it.
Is managing the perfect like prep for being a dad?
perfect prep. I don't know.
I would say being a dad is perfect setup for being a manager.
That makes sense. Okay,
not saying that every manager should just go out and have kids.
Yeah.
Nah, I don't mean it like that. But I think
that's crazy.
I think becoming a dad has made me a better manager.
Yeah,
for sure. That's crazy. All right, so if the manager's just bullshitting, that's a red flag. Is there anything else?
I think that's the main one. Someone who also just is gonna false promises. Like if you're giving out false promises, that's a red flag. Like,
but you don't know if it's false.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Well, I mean, like you're guaranteeing stuff. It's a false promise because it's like,
if a manager's guaranteeing things, it's not. It's a.
It's a huge red flag. If you're guaranteeing something off the back, you know, you guys can set up a plan. It could be a 2 to 5 year plan, whatever it is. And we can hit those milestones. But if I'm like, hey, I got this lined up for you and I don't have it lined up, that's a red flag. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
Because me and my partner, we like to make sure stuff's locked in before we even have that conversation.
Yeah.
Make sure it's a clear cut, like this is happening, this is on schedule. And then speaking to the artist about it. I'm not going to sit here and set something up or partially set something up and then bring it to my artist and be like, hey, listen, we got this lined up, bro.
Yeah.
And it's not lined up and it doesn't fall through because now like your artist is looking at you like, okay, like he's not really getting certain things done. He's giving me false hope, Yeah,
that definitely makes sense. You keep mentioning your partner, so I really want to delve into that a little bit. So who is your partner and how do you guys wind up delegating tasks? Like how do you split the responsibility of a manager with him?
Shout out to Robbie NYC. That's my guy. That's my partner. That's my friend, my brother. I look up to him as a mentor too. He's older than me. So, as far as tasks, we talk about this all the time. Like we wear tons of hats, and, there's going to be a certain point where we're going to have to bring more people on and, start taking on certain things. But as far as delegation, it really just depends. Like I said before off camera, he's more of like a creative guy, he's going to understand the vision. He's going to take an artist from this look to that look and help develop the brand. I'm gonna focus more on the business side of things. I'm gonna focus on the logistical things. Even from marketing, like we both divide that work as well. Yeah, it really just depends. But he really is the creative guy for sure.
Yeah. So what was it in him that made you want to bring him on as like somebody I want to work with like really closely into the near future?
So we kind of the relationship kind of started before I even like knew I was gonna put together a company. Like I met him through one of my first artists I ever worked with. He ended up just coming out and doing a photo shoot for him. And like I knew like his vibe was good. So we had stayed in touch for like 2 years and, just acknowledging each other from afar. And then it got to a certain point that, we ended up shooting a video for that same artist 2 years later. And I'm driving him to the set. And we're having a conversation and we're shooting the shit. And he's telling me how he's trying to get into artist management. And I'm like, oh yeah, like dope. And out of nowhere, like we're like bouncing ideas off of each other. And at a certain point in the conversation, we realized like, we should probably do this shit together. Like, let's figure this out.
So it just felt really natural, like right?
Super natural. And honestly, from that point on, like I just started calling him my partner, and then we had a side conversation to make this official, and hit up the lawyer and like let's get this done. Let's make it happen.
Wow. Yeah, that's dope.
Yeah.
Do you want to hit the tweets?
I mean, just do one more. So
yeah, for sure.
In your experience, what role or what type of person would you say is some of the most valuable connections have been made in your, if that makes sense? So maybe you could say other managers, maybe you could say agents or something that like
lawyer, fucking engineer. It could be anything.
Like who should I seek out
from an artist perspective?
From an
artist perspective, all of the above. Like you gotta be able to. So it's like, you know how the analogy goes, it's like you got to treat the janitor the same as the CEO. It's the same thing. Like the engineer, build a connection with him. It may not be the best connection or best relationship, but build a rapport with everyone you encounter. Because at the end of the day, it's like you never know when you're going to need that person. Or if that person is, of higher stature than you at some point and you need a favor. So maintain those relationships with everyone.
Yeah.
That's real.
Yeah. Fire. I love that answer.
Okay,
hey, let's go. All right.
So my boy Cruz here took the liberty of going through your Twitter. and
I'm not really on Twitter much, but
yeah,
you're on it enough where we got some good quotes. So what we do is we just read them out, and maybe you just think out loud about what you were thinking at the time, what inspired that.
That's a fact.
So, that's dope. That's dope.
Yeah, for sure.
Are you ready?
Let's do it. Right. I'm kind of nervous, but let's do it.
It's all good. We got it.
All right, check it out. October 20th, 2021.
I love when you do the dates. It makes them extra nervous.
Yeah.
It's like you're at court. I'm like,
what did I say?
9 out of 10 times, I play dumb when I first meet people. I like to know people's intentions early.
I like that. Let me just say that. I like that.
I mean, off the bat, like you, I can't believe I said that. But off the bat, like 48 Laws of Power, like you gotta understand.
Start with that book?
Yeah, 100%. It's one of those books that really like had me understand how to work the room. You know what I mean? So it's a situation where, you're going to meet someone, you're not going to automatically let them know that you know something. Let it come naturally. It's like I said, it's one of those like, let's see what your intentions are. Like where is this relationship going? Are you meeting me for something? And I try to be conscious of that when I'm meeting somebody of higher stature as well. Like, am I meeting them for something? Like I might be, but I kind of want to build a relationship first. So you don't want to give people too much. You don't want to let them kind of do their homework first.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. I feel like the playing dumb part might be a little bit of an exaggeration. I'm sure you're not playing dumb.
For sure.
So you're just more, I mean, you might have some end goal of like, I hope this blossoms into this, but you're not going to lead with that.
Right.
So,
Exactly.
Yeah, please don't take that literal. People are going to see through if you're being fake.
For sure.
Yeah.
And
So
what's done in the dark is going to
like
come to
that.
the light at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Like your true intentions are always going to come to the light.
Yeah.
You gonna say
Yeah, for
something,
sure.
they're gonna be like, huh?
Yeah.
So
that makes sense. Yeah. I would have, if I were to rewrite that quote for myself, I would have said I'm more of a listener when I first meet people. I don't really talk about myself unless I'm asked.
We're
So
judging
that's
his,
how I
his
approach
tweet
about
right
it.
now.
I'm not judging it. I'm just, it's a different way of approaching
calculating
it. For it.
No, for sure.
But
And
yeah,
I think that's a great way to approach it. Like
Yeah,
for sure. Just be organic, you know?
Word.
Go into the relationship and have organic intentions.
Word.
Definitely makes sense. All right, I like this one a lot too. So, every moment in your life is either a test or celebration. Well, you said of celebration, but I read or. I assume you meant or.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, okay.
You know, Twitter has the edit shit now. You can edit tweets now.
Yeah.
For real? Like,
Yeah, bro.
tweets that have already been
I
posted?
think so. Don't quote me on. I just saw it today. Like, I don't know if that's actually true or not, but I don't know. I didn't try it.
Yeah.
I might have to hire an editor and just go through all my old stuff.
Yeah, this is December 6th, 2021, just so you know. Test or a celebration every moment in life.
It is. I mean, like, expectations. You go into something and you understand, like, okay, how am I gonna approach this situation? Am I gonna be open-minded, or am I gonna focus on what the end goal is? Am I gonna focus on the potential milestone? So to test, you gotta roll with the punches. Problems happen every day. Life is life. I got kids. Just told you, my kid's in the hospital right now, and it's not something I expected, but you're rolling with it. You got to get it done. So it's a test or a celebration, and 9 times out of 10, that celebration is still a test because you got to keep it going.
That's a fact.
I love that.
That's a fact. All right.
It's some more dirt.
I'm not gonna lie.
We got a recent one here.
Okay, let's do it.
September 12th, 2022. One thing I'm not gonna do is chase an artist to make music.
That's self-explanatory.
Sheesh, let them know.
Am I gonna be an author, or am I gonna be a publisher and make an artist or make an author, like just write something? Am I gonna make you do something that you're supposed to be doing? It's like being a dad. Like, you don't get rewarded for taking your son to doctor's appointments, or it's what's expected of you.
Yeah.
You got to balance life and things happen, but you don't get thanks for being a dad because it's what you signed up for. You're a dad. So with artists, it's like, if I gotta hunt you down and chase you to go get, go in the studio and write records, red flag. Like, we can't, like, what are we doing here? You know what I mean? It's my job to manage you, and if you're not giving me anything to manage, then we're both at a standstill.
Yeah.
This isn't gonna be progressive.
How do you approach it if your artist is just sort of not taking the creative aspect as seriously as you think? You haven't encountered that much?
Like, so
pushing to sort of finish a project or anything like that?
So the game is different now, right? Like, you can be an artist and not have that much music, but still have a look, or still bring the entertainment aspect of your image, which I think is important. But if you're not doing any of the above, then, like, you're not doing anything. You're just too cool for school.
Yeah. Definitely makes sense.
Okay.
All right, I like this one from November 4th, 2021.
This might be the last one.
Some of y'all be talking about y'all got the next hit, but don't have any money to invest in your exposure.
How do you got a hit if no one heard it?
Yeah.
Who's gonna be the judge of that hit?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, good music is good music, but how is that a hit?
Yeah.
How is that a hit?
Yeah.
It sounds good to you and your homies, but no one of stature, you don't have any fans.
Yeah.
So who's gonna be the judge of that hit? Marketing is key. You got to put it out to people for them to judge.
That's real.
So go ahead.
Where do you like to put your money in? I know it probably depends, of course, but in terms of investing, if I'm an artist trying to get bubbling, like, what's your philosophy in making investments?
Had a nice combo
into promotion?
about ads before too.
So
What kind of artist are you? Are you gonna focus on dropping music videos. You focus on, YouTube ads. You focus on AdSense, and you focus on what it is to get your image out there as a artist that's gonna put out music videos. But it depends, like there's Facebook ads if you want to focus on some of your content on IG.
Those
like,
Instagram ads count under Facebook ads,
Yeah,
kind of in the way that you say it.
Instagram.
Yeah.
Shit,
So,
So yes and no.
Yeah.
Like there's the automation promote ad.
Don't do that shit.
And then there's the Facebook manager ad. Like when you're running ads through Facebook and it transgresses into Instagram and you'll see the promo pop up, it's more efficient. Yeah.
Don't do that boost shit. Save your fucking money. Unless you know right now.
So what's the difference though? Like,
because Facebook ad manager can be more targeted. You can really lock into exactly the audience you want to do. There's more options and shit like that. It's just a lot more efficient way to get a bang for your buck. 100%.
But like, if I'm scrolling down my Instagram and I see a promoted post or an ad post, like it could be either one.
Yeah, realistically, it
could be 100%.
Sure.
Now, how many people it's engaging or location wise, if you're seeing it more often than usual, then they're probably honing in more on Facebook ads. And I'm not like an ad guru. Like there's people that are probably like comment on this. But it's really just location, right?
Yeah.
Like if that ad is popping up in your area a lot, that means they got a lot of money dumped into that spot.
Yeah, location, interest based, all that type of shit. Yeah.
Fire.
Anyway,
This is dope.
Mykal, how you feeling?
Feeling great, feeling blessed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yo,
Same.
we appreciate you coming through, bro.
Yeah, thank you, bro.
My guy.
Appreciate you guys for having me. For sure.
We fucking here. Could you tell the people where to find you on social media?
So at Mykal Rasheed, that's MYKAL RASHEED.
Boom.
Follow Top Tier Music _ that's our management company. And follow Robbie NYC, that's my partner. Follow the artist.
Yeah.
Follow the artist.
Yes,
so
sir.
at Shy Bills _ that's Shy Bills. At Sean Savvy _ Sean Sav. And at am.vibes.
Yes, sir.
That's our new act. We just signed him a couple days ago. We're super excited about him.
Fire. Dope.
Yeah.
Is there anything you want to say to all the artists that are gonna watch this? Anything to inspire them to go harder?
Keep working. It's super cliche, but get it done. Keep working and be relentless. I think that's problems are gonna happen. Stuff is gonna obstacles gonna come in the way. Get it done. Be relentless. Roll with the punches.
That's real.
Fire.
Yo, this is episode motherfucking 41 of the Encore Podcast. I know you learned some shit. I know you took some game away from it. So please subscribe to the channel. Tap in with us. Tap in with Mykal over here because bro is on his way. Way. Everyone he works with is on their way. So he's definitely got it going on. So, yeah. Thank you for watching. Again, please subscribe. And we'll be back shortly with another dope episode. So,
Peace.
Appreciate all y'all.
Nice.
Thank you, Mykal.
Yes, sir.
We fucking here.
Good energy. I like you guys a lot.
Woo! We here. I appreciate that.